Good afternoon internet and welcome back to the channel. So it's Saturday afternoon. Let's have a look. It's the 27th of April and it's 12 minutes past 2. So look at this nice day. Slightly cloudy but nothing serious. It's not raining, that's the main thing. It's not very warm, even though it's nice and sunny. It's not very warm, but still, you can't have everything. Not raining in itself is absolutely brilliant news. Now, yesterday I fitted to the transalp the new voltage regulator and the two CDIs and started it up in the garage. But today I'm going to check it out and we're going to see how it performs. Hopefully we won't get 500 metres down the road and it all catches fire or they melt, but I don't think they will. So, doesn't she look gorgeous, eh? Look at that. They are a gorgeous looking vehicle, bike, machine. Huh? Honda technology, I think, in its finest years. Yeah, still, never mind. That's just my opinion, but I am sticking to it. Right, okay. Without any further ado, and me talking away, now, I'm determined that I'm not going to use the peg to get on and off. So, look at that, hey? The conventional way, sling one's leg over, and hope the artificial hip doesn't come flying out of its socket, which wouldn't be a good thing. Okay, so, oh look, I have a cobweb. Doesn't say much, does he? Oh, God blimey. Hey, caught me trouser leg on the peg. Actually, once you get out in the actual sunlight itself, it's not too bad. Right, so here we go. Let's see how she does. Put the visor down a bit because the air is a bit chilly. Let it warm up a little bit first of all. Oh, look at this here, look at this mud on the road here, eh? You know, there's no I know the farmers are going to do their job. I quite accept that fact, but you know what, it doesn't take a couple of minutes, does it, to actually clean the tyres before you come out the field. I mean, they don't even live in this village, and the people that do have to ride their vehicles. So, okay, me on the bike, it's not too bad, I can go round it and everything, but if you've got a car you can't. And I don't know, bit of respect for other people, you know what I mean? Doesn't hurt much, does it, when you think about it? But not everybody thinks like that. Right, so here we go. Well, have I or can I notice a huge difference? Well, to be honest with you, like I said, the problem that I had with it dropping that cylinder, it could happen once in a blue moon, you know. It wasn't an everyday or every ride occurrence, so it's a bit awkward to say, really. I mean, yeah, the bike's running nice. It doesn't really feel, I don't know, it's difficult to say. I'd like to think that it does actually feel a little bit smoother, you know. But is that me? Is that wishful thinking on my part? I'm probably not too sure, because, you know, at the end of the day, you fit new parts and you want to notice the difference, yeah. But it does. I mean, but having said that, you know, this is a V-twin, and you know, V-twins have always got that sort of engine rhythm to them. So yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know, it's running nice, but then again, this bike runs nice anyway. It always has run nice, you know. So yeah, time I think will be the only thing that can tell. Hopefully it won't drop that cylinder. That's stopped. I mean, the engine does seem nice and smooth. I mean, you know, look at that. It does seem that little bit more, you know, at low revs especially. But yeah, that's great. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, so the transalp in itself, I mean, what an underestimated bike. I've said this so many times before. You know, I mean, I absolutely love these bikes, and to be fair, I don't use it as much as I should do, really. They are now seem to be getting more sought after than ever before, and I think that's got a lot to do with the changes in general motorcycle riding itself. I mean, adventure trail riding is now becoming more and more popular, and the transalp is the sort of bike that you literally can jump on these bikes and they would go anywhere and do most anything. Okay, probably not your hardened off-roading, yeah, I mean, you know, but then again, not many mid-range bikes can. I mean, you know, if for the ones that watch Itchy Boots, she's in Madagascar now. She's on that you know, the orangey thing. Oh, here we go again. Anyway, but it's specifically made for the job that she's doing, whereas these bikes, if you put these on a trail, they will cope fantastically, and if you want a mile munch, they'll cope fantastically. This is a you know, it's a 600 engine, and you know, she'll cruise all day with all your gear on if you want, and she'll do it comfortably with plenty of fuel economy. So, you know, look, see that buzzard there, see it land there, look, there he is, look, loads of buzzards around there, loads of them. Anyway, back to the transalp. So, and it's a comfortable bike, you know, everything, nice visible dash, it's a comfortable bike to ride, it's a comfortable position. If I would change anything on it, maybe the foot pegs would be slightly lower, but that's me, and that's probably nitpicking. So yeah, you know, I mean, I can ride this bike for hours and hours at a time. They're a little bit top heavy weight wise, but then again, particularly no big deal, you know. I mean, they do the job, they do it well, you know. I mean, when I say top heavy, that's me probably comparing it to something like the Himalayan, you know, or which, to be fair, they are a well balanced bike, you know, so that isn't a huge problem. They're a talky bike, you know, the top end speed is great. So yeah, now you used to be able to get these bikes dirt cheap. You know, I got this one in 2009, and they were giving them away then with a packet of cornflakes. Nobody wanted them, you know. They've always been pretty used, sort of loved in Europe, especially France, because of its old law with the brake horsepower. Anything 600, they absolutely loved them. So yeah, but in England, they were never a particularly light bike. So this one, I mean, it's done 24,050 miles. Now that's genuine. You have to be careful when you buy second-hand ones of these, because at 100,000 miles the clock zeros again. So you know, it's quite easy to get one that has actually gone round the clock, but you can normally tell by the state of it. This one is genuine mileage. I had this full service history from Honda when I got it, and yeah, so this is a really exceptionally low mileage bike. and you know, it's got a couple of little battle scars on it, but for 34 years old, I think it's sort of, that's what it needs to have. I don't want it to be in showroom condition. It's a 34-year-old bike. If this came out gleaming, then it just wouldn't fit its age, would it? So to me, you know, it just wouldn't be right. So, you know, mechanically, these engines, they are bulletproof. If you look after these engines, if you service them and give them the attention that they require, you know, these engines will give you the service that you want, and they just keep going. They really do. They are the workhorse. They're, again, I think this was Honda's finest era, the 80s and 90s. I really do. Especially this, the early Transalps up to about, I don't know, 96, 95, 96, 97. They changed it to the 650 at some stage. Then it went to the 700. I don't know, it just seemed to, because the original ones, which this is one, was made in Japan itself. Then I think it moved to Spain, then I think it moved to Italy, I think. And yeah, but anyway, so this is one of the original ones, and I just think they're brilliant bikes. And the price tag on them now is just going up. Okay, it's not racing up. I mean, you know, we're not talking you could retire on one by selling it, but it's going in the right direction. And of course, Honda last year relaunched the Transalp, and that did the original Transalps the world of good. It made them even more sought after. I mean, I don't know what sort of price tag you would put on these. I haven't got a clue. Looking down the local papers here in France, where there's more of, you, for one of my age or within that sort of era, with probably between 60 to 100,000 kilometers on the clock, in fairly good condition, you're going to be looking at round about 4,000, I would think. So, I mean, mine's got low mileage. Not that I would sell it, because I wouldn't. I'm not interested in selling it at all, but I would imagine the lower mileage, the better condition ones, I don't know, what, 4,000-5,000 by now, probably rising slightly, I don't know. But yeah, certainly an investment. So, but of course, like I said, getting extremely hard to get hold of now. But yeah, I think they're excellent bikes. I'd almost go as far as to say that, you know, I've got 3 bikes. Yeah, I've got this, I've got the Himalayan, and I've got the Meteor. So if someone said to me, right, one of these bikes, one of my bikes have got to go, which one would I choose? And I think that's, for me, it's a pretty easy answer for me. It would be the Himalayan that would go, because this bike will do what the Himalayan does. In fact, I go as far as to say it probably does it a lot better than what the Himalayan does. That doesn't mean to say that I don't like the Himalayan, because I do. I think the Himalayan is a great bike. But when you've got 2 bikes that are basically designed to do the same job, then if I had to choose one of them, then it would be the Himalayan that went. I would keep the Meteor, because I think the Meteor is a great bike. It's low, it's easy to get on and off, it's easy to ride, and it's a fun little bike. I love the Meteor, it's great, but it's a different, you know, the Meteor is sort of hitting design wise at the sort of Harley laid back cruisery sort of style. So yeah, different bike, different game altogether. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I think these bikes are great. Hopefully, like I said, I've cured the problem. Now, the other thing I did, which if you'd have watched the video, you would have known, I'm taking you to, this has always suffered, well, not always suffered, when years ago, normally I fit my own tyres, but when I bought this bike, the guy that I bought off, the tyres were no good, he did a deal, and so there was 2 tyres for it. Now they're Michelin tyres, they're Anarchies, and when the guy balanced the front tyre, it took so many weights to get it right, and over the period of time I've lost a few of the weights because there was a lot. So the other day, when I was out on it, which was last Sunday I think it was, or last Saturday, can't quite remember now, but anyway, I noticed a sort of, you know, a sort of which I thought, okay, you know, weights are missing. So I rebalanced it, and I mean, it's basically stopped that now. I mean, it's doing it a little bit, but not much at all. But it still is there slightly. So I think that the tyre is probably well out of balance. It's probably not a well made tyre. Now, I love Michelin. I am a Michelin man, as you've noticed. Bit of weight round the gut, but no, seriously, I am. I love Michelin tyres. That's all I fit to my bikes, and so I think that this tyre, for some unknown reason, you know, is out of it. Now, what I think I should have done, really speaking, the other day when I balanced it, I probably should have turned the tyre round, not round, because then it would be facing the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? I should have marked a spot, and then I should have put that spot from the top to the bottom, and that hopefully or might have counteracted some of the bad weight. I'm not too sure, because balancing it has more or less stopped it, but there's still that little bit, so it's still not right, you know. Yeah, I think as well, when it comes to like off-road tyres, which the Anarchies are, or this particular model of the Anarchy is, I mean, now you can get the Anarchy Street, I think they call them, which is like a 70-30 tyre, you know, 30 more off-road, and do you know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, but I sort of, because I don't go off-road, and it will be the same with the Himalayan as well, when I replace the tyres, then what I'll do is I will replace them with road tyres, because I mean, I just don't go off-road, or at least a real more 70% road and 30% trail, if you know what I mean. I think that then for me would be a good mixture of tyre. But yeah, I really do think that a lot of this with this is a tyre fault, not as in it's dangerous, it's just got a real bad heavy spot on it, and I think maybe the heavy spot on the tyre ended up being the heavy spot with the wheel as well, and the two combined. So, because like I say, I balanced it, but it is still there, so I think that maybe I will move that tyre around. Yeah, anyway, we shall see what we shall see. Okay, so back to the job in hand, back to riding the bike. I mean, look at this. Now, obviously, this speedo is in mph, and the little bits of red are the kilometres an hour, which is always a bit of a pain. Actually, it'd be quite interesting to see when it goes for its CT, its control technique, next Friday, what the guy is going to say about that. Is he going to turn around and say, well, it's got an English speedo? I said, well, look, it might have a main English speedo, but the kilometres on it, I don't know. I mean, obviously, when it was changed over from English plates to French plates, it was inspected by Honda to get its certificate of conformity to the European road use, which of course it also passed on its speedo. So if he does say that, I'll say, well, you know, it came through a certificate of conformity. But I suppose with these new rules and regulations, are they going to say, oh no, you know, you've now got to have this done, which will be a pain in the backside if I have, because then it means, you know, I've got to go out in search of a speedo, which, like all the rest of the parts for these bikes, it's not the cheapest thing out. But still, never mind, eh? But like I say, running nice. It's running really nice, so for me that's good enough. So when it's done its CT next week, that will give me 5 years on the road until I have to do another one. Crazy, you know, 5 years. So yeah. Well, look at this weather, eh? Blue skies. Like I said, it's a bit chilly. I mean, it's not that bad, I suppose, really, but it's a little bit chilly. We definitely need these temperatures to come up a bit. I was actually it's alright. I don't. They put these traffic calming things all over the place now. Sometimes I wonder why. But still, never mind. I was actually next week going to have a few days away camping, only 2 or 3 days away in the tent. But you know what? It literally is too cold to go away in a tent right now. I mean, it really is. So I'm afraid that it ain't going to happen. Oh, they've opened this road back. Ain't it typical, eh? Oi, oi. Somebody else who hasn't got a brain cell that thinks that bikes are invisible and will just pull out in front of them. He obviously didn't go to Specsavers, eh? Still, never mind. I'm not too sure of what's going on here. Oh dear. All of a sudden, you can feel the heat sort of coming up, which is really nice. It's just, I love it when you ride and you get the heat on your back. I mean, that's when it feels nice. Yeah, so there's still this little wobble here on this front tyre, so wheel, whatever you want to class it as, that's wobbling. So I think this could be, take the wheel back off and maybe move the tyre around and see if we can make it balance it up a bit, because there was a lot of weights needed to balance it. What I might do is with the wheel, with the tyre off, I might just see how far out of balance the actual wheel itself is, because I mean you can't really do much about that if that's the case, but yeah, it would be interesting to see. This bike handles extremely well on the bends. I mean, it really does. I'd almost, although it does suffer with its bit of a top heavy bit, once you get this bike going, it sort of leans really nice into the corners. Now don't get me wrong, like I've said before on my videos, I ain't trying to get my knee down, because if I did, it'd stay down, you know. It certainly wouldn't be the intended ride, but the bike sort of leans nicely into the corners, and it's a nice slow action, you know, and it works pretty well. Seriously, car drivers of today, not all of them, it's not fair to judge all of them, but a lot of them really do need to get some respect, you know. We're not on the road to use as target practice. Another thing with these bikes, if I put my head down a minute, can you see that arrow there? See it on the fuel cap? Now that arrow is there for a reason, and if you own a transalp, you probably know what it is. Well, I hope you do. And basically what it's there for, because that fuel cap can be put on the other way with the arrow facing towards the rider, and that's not good, because you've got to put it on so that when you put it on the bike, it's facing the rider, you turn it round to lock it, and then the arrow goes forward. And the reason for that is that shows then that the vent system is working properly. That's where the position for the vent to work. So it's very important, if you've got a transalp, make sure that your fuel cap and that with that arrow is pointing forward, okay? But I'm sure you know that anyway. So Odiern, we've ended up in Odiern, the little harbour town, eh? God bless it. Prudence. Another cycle shop, look, eh? There's so many of these now that are opening around these little ports where you can hire the bikes, most of them being electric as well, mind you. Fair enough, eh? I mean, you don't have to hire an electric bike, but yeah. But it's like when I was down Laddershell, which I like Laddershell, I go down there because it's nice and warm down in Laddershell. Once you get out the clutches of the Breton, the weather changes, and Laddershell is it's quite a big place, and so to walk around it can be a bit of a task, you know. And so everywhere you go in Laddershell, there's bike hire places, and there's literally loads of, and they're great, they are down there. You've got it like they're all locked up to these sort of posty things, and you use your credit card at the post, you know. and then it unlocks the bike, and of course they've got all your details, haven't they? So, you know, if you want to sod off with the bike, it's not advisable. And but the good thing is you don't have to take it back. So if you want to ride, say, from one side of Ladder Shell to the other, you can do, and you can drop it off on any of the, you know, they've got these little bits and pieces all over the place, and it's a real good way, I think, to get although I got to be honest, the times that I've been down Ladder Shell, it can get so hot there. When we were down there, not last year, the year before, we was in the Ladder Shell, and 42 degrees. I mean, it wasn't unbearable, but it wasn't far off it. You know, I mean, it was hot, and so I'm not too sure if I'd want to pedal round. Having said that, again, you can hire the electric bike, so yeah, not too bad. But yeah, I'm just looking at that wooden thing he's got on the back of that van there, and I'm just wondering, it doesn't look that too secure, to be honest. It probably is, but I'd hate to do all the work on the old girl here, only to be took off by a whatever it is. It looks like some sort of playpen or something, I don't know. I mean, he's tied his tree and his fridgy freezer thing upright, but I'm not too sure about that. Still, never mind. Well, back to the bike again, running beautifully. I mean, it's running. I would almost now say that it has made an improvement. The engine, it does seem to be extremely smooth. It really does. And of course, what a lot of people do with these bikes is, like I've done to the Himalayan, they, although I think it's only the front with these, I'm not 100% sure, I've never really looked into it, but they do change the front sprocket and up it by 1 tooth, just to knock the revs down a bit. Although, you know, I suppose again it's what you want to do with the bike. I think a lot of people that buy these bikes do tend to do more mileage on them rather than off-road on them. I certainly would. I mean, to be fair, I've never done it in all the years that I've had this bike. I've never done a long run on it. I mean, I've had some nice days out, you know, but I've never actually done a tour or a really long run on it. Well, that's just dandy, innit, eh? So, but I know that you can actually change it. Again, these bikes, I'm 5'8.5", yeah. and trust me, most of that is made up of body rather than legs, but I can flat foot. I've got my 2 feet flat on the ground, yeah. So they're not a really high bike to ride, you know. So I mean, if you're a little bit on the short side, as I am, you can manage it easy. Unlike its big brother, which was the African twin of the same type. Again, having said that though, if you watch Itchy Boots, she's just gone on to an African twin for the last leg of her trip. So yeah, I mean, but the new African twins, I mean, they are ridiculously high. They really are. There's a guy that I know that's got one, and you know, I'm not kidding you, I would need a step ladder to get on it. I mean, I really would. I mean, it is. I'm sure that they think that all adventure riders, although I don't class myself as one of them, but all people that want to buy an adventure bike-ish sort of thing, is 6 foot odd and built like a bloody brick, you know, house. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't ride an Africa Twin because I'm not tall enough. I wouldn't even try, you know. KTM, that's the bike that Itchy Boots has got now, isn't it? A KTM, the orange thing. There you go. I mean, they're ridiculously high. I mean, she seems to manage it, and I don't think she's that tall, is she? Probably a lot more agile than me, I'd say, to be fair. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty fair sort of description, yeah. I've noticed one thing, I have to adjust this clutch. Don't forget, the clutch was new. I adjusted it. This is about the third, maybe the fourth ride, but I have noticed today that she just needs an adjustment. I mean, the clutch bed's in, you know, they're all new plates, you know, complete set of plates, as you know. So yeah, it's, well, I mean, it's a 5-minute job, so but it needs doing, so I'll get that done. Well, there you go, eh? Nice little ride out, and that's what I like. It just pulls. I mean, that's in top gear, and there's plenty of power there. Can't really give it a bit of, I don't know, can I? No, I better not, I suppose. I mean, if you want these bikes to go, they will go, you know. Like I said, we're not talking sports bike. I think this was the trouble. What actually killed these bikes in the UK is that when these came out in the 80s and the 90s, the UK was into sports bikes, wasn't it? You know, the leather-clad Sunday biker who, you know, got out his, I don't know, whatever bike. What was around in them days? Was it the Honda Fireblades and the Suzuki Hayabusas and the GSXRs and, you know, the Yamaha? Were the R1s around then? I'm not 100%, but you know what I mean. Anyway, and they all have the matching leathers. I could never get into them. I couldn't, eh? And if I did, I'd never get out, you know. But most of them would actually ride down the pub and sit outside, posing in the sunlight, and back home again. But you know what? Everyone to their own. You know, it's as simple as that. But that killed this sort of bike because, you know, people wasn't into certainly I don't think they was into the long distance in them days. You know, the days of people conquering the world on bikes, just, well, you know, I mean, there was only the chosen few that sort of did it, you know. Jupiter's Travels, you know, don't ask me, I know I'm here again with the names, but Ted Simons, Mr. Simons, who I've met, what a nice gentleman he is, fantastic bloke, and yeah, so, and let's face it, I mean, let's be brutally honest, who the hell would want to go a long distance on a sports bike? I certainly wouldn't. I really would. I've had a sports bike back in the 80s. I had a couple. I didn't like them. I really didn't like them at all. I can see why people went to the pub because the pain on your wrists and shoulders if you did any distance, nah. And do you know the bit that got me? I when you look at bikes now, you know, on the road today, and there's a lot of 2-ups, yeah, you know, there's a lot of 2-ups, and they look nice. They sit there, you know, and they're the same height, and they fit the bike, and everything looks as it was intended to look. But the sports bikes, you had the bloke, and no, I'm not being sexist there, but I'm just using this as an example. You had the bloke who, you know, he was leant forward, he was lying down and virtually on the tank, you know, and then his wife or girlfriend or whatever she was, she's stuck at the back. She's way up in the air. She's getting all the wind and the bugs and you name it. It's hitting her. It's as simple as that. There was no. She was almost on her own. You know. That's probably why now there's so many female riders, and rightly so. They got fed up of taking all the crap. Anyway, so yeah. I don't know, sports bikes, I'm not a fan. I never have been a fan. I didn't like them. I had a Hayabusa once, and trust me, yeah, it just isn't for me. You know, it just isn't for me. Well, you can't live in the country and expect not to get caught behind a tractor, can you? You don't want to get caught behind a tractor, but that's what happens. Yeah, so I've always had sort of, you know, sort of touring bikes, because that's what I've always done, you know. I mean, I had two BMWs, which I've said before. I had the 1100 RT, and then I had the 1150 RT, which both of them are an absolutely brilliant bike. You know, they really are. I mean, I did some fantastic touring on them, you know, and they are mile munchers, but of course they're heavy bikes. They are big, bulky, heavy bikes, and you hear people say, and I've said it myself, oh, you know, you sit on them and it's right, it's like riding on a tank. No, it's not riding on a tank. If you eat something, even on that, it's going to hurt or kill you, one of the two. So that theory, really, wash it out the window. It doesn't work. And as I got older, and you know, the arthritis crept into various parts of the body, riding it on the road wasn't a problem. Stopping and certainly moving it around the garage was a nightmare. You know, it just got too heavy, and so it went. But they are brilliant bikes, engine wise. Those I love those boxer engines. You know, they're absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I haven't really done much sports bike, to be fair. You know, I had the Suzuki Bandit after I sold the BMW, the 650. Again, fantastic bike. What an absolute brilliant machine. Absolutely loved it. You know. And when I sold that bike, you know, I really missed that bike. I mean, it was a fantastic bike. Again, you look after it, those engines are indestructible. They'll just keep going, you know. They really will. Right, so there you go. My little rundown on bikes. I've had some cracking bikes. Do you know what? I had a 754, a Honda 754 years ago, back in the 70s, you know. Again, imagine, just imagine if I'd have got that now. Yeah, they're worth a fortune. They are beautiful bikes, you know. Some of the BSAs I had, I was showing the kids when I was at this show the other day. They had a Starfire, BSA 250 Starfire. That was the first proper motorbike that I had. Yeah, I mean, I was going to have a Bantam, but then I had that beautiful bike. I wish I had that one now, you know. I had the BSA, the 500 twin. I had the Sing. Oh, I've had some fantastic bikes, but I've always, that's my style of bike. I've always liked them, not the sports bikes. Anyway, okay, how's the balance? Look at that. Yeah, I mean that's although these bikes are a bit, you know, you can balance them extremely. You know, if you can take your, I know you shouldn't, but you know, the bikes stay where you want them to stay, which is, yeah. Okay, so I'm nearly back now. I've achieved what I wanted to achieve with this bike. I think it's great. I think it's done what I wanted to do. Next week I hope it gets through its CT, and you know what, I think this bike deserves to be used a little bit more than I, certainly over the last few years that I've used it. Right, okay, well look, you can see we're clouding over. Look at this lot. There was none of this when I left. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, and it's supposed to rain on Sunday, and well, I gotta be honest, by the look of this, it doesn't look good at all, does it, eh? But what can I say? And I'm very jealous. There's a guy that I follow, Harry, who lives in Latvia. He's into motorbikes, and he does the slot car racing, and he's just been back to Ireland for the I don't know if it was 2 weeks or a week. I love Ireland. I've done a couple of tours round Ireland on the bikes, and I've got family in Ireland as well. Fantastic. If you ever, afternoon Major, gotta salute the magpie. If you ever get chance to do a bike tour in Ireland, if you've never done it but you think about it, oh, I tell you what, you will not regret it. Absolutely fantastic. I love it to pieces. Anyway, yeah, very jealous of him, very jealous. I hope you had a great time, Harry, I really do, but I'm sure you did. Right, okay, so we're back home. I'm just gonna park it up, obviously, a minute. I'm gonna leave it out there. I might even clean it on this because we've got a few bugs. Now let me just get off it, and I'm not going to use the peg. Look at that, eh? As nimble as ever. So a final look at the old girl, eh? A final walk round her. Well, doesn't it look a absolutely beautiful machine? I really think it does, and I know I'm biased because it's mine, but yeah, certainly some bugs. Right, okay, well, do you know what, I hope you've enjoyed this little trip. If you have, give me a thumbs up, that'd be great, or if you want to have a chat, leave a comment. If you've watched me for the first time and you're not subscribed, I'd love you to be, I really would. That would be absolutely fantastic. Right, until the next video, look after yourselves. I hope your weather's improving, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.